Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today I have a guest with me. It's Magnus Ulfstedt. You guys know him from the band Eclipse. You know him from Ammunition. He's doing his own thing now. How's it going, Magnus?
It's going good.
So, what has 2020 to 2021 done for you? Because I know the last time that we saw each other was at Vakken in 2019. What's going on
Oh,
since then?
yeah.
Because I know that came the departure of Eclipse. You're doing your own thing now. What's
Yeah.
new in your world?
What's new is after Eclipse, uh, um, I was really tired of the whole business, actually. Uh, I, I mean, everything around gigs and stuff, flying, all the flights, and travels and everything. I was tired of that, um, and a lot of other things. So I took some time off because I needed that. I needed to rest and think about what to do next, or if I wanted to do something more in with music. Um, so I had a great time relaxing, um, and then by the end of around the new year or something, I was contacted by Ken Hammer, guitar player from Pretty Maids, and since their singer Ronnie got sick, as probably all of you know, he got sick, so they couldn't tour. He wanted to form a new band because he wanted to continue playing. So he asked me, should we put a band together? And I thought, yeah, we can do that. And I thought to myself that I go along with it and see what happens. See if I can get the kickback, or so to speak.
Yeah.
So, and then the corona struck the earth, and so we've been kind of busy doing nothing, actually, because we didn't have we didn't have nothing to look forward to, no gigs, anything. So we just focused on getting a band together and think about what to do with it. And now it's starting to open up, and there are some gigs that are booked, and so yeah, now we're busy rehearsing and making some new music. We'll see what happens with those songs, but um,
So it sounds
yeah,
like you had a great extended vacation and break, because I think that a lot of people, especially like with what's going on in the world and how we've talked a lot more in the music community about mental health and needing to take care of yourself, a lot more people are taking time to take these breaks, and
yeah,
it
yeah. And
recharges you.
yeah, I certainly needed it. But my family, they thought I was home too much. So
It's time for you to go back out on tour.
yeah, yeah,
Get out of the house. Yeah.
I yeah. But I feel I have a positive energy now. Uh,
And that's good. That's an
yeah,
awesome. And I
hopefully.
love to hear that that's what came for you.
Yeah, I did actually last year. I did some shows in Stockholm. There was a hard rock club that were allowed to have live bands if they followed the restrictions.
That the pub
Uh,
anchor.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The
Yeah. Cool little
famous
venue. Yeah.
famous banker. Yeah, so I put a band together, played some of my favorite songs by some was obscure hard rock songs, and we're not standing there playing Breaking the Law or Bark at the Moon because everyone heard those. But we did like Ready to Strike by King Cobra and those kind of songs. Um, so yeah, that was fun to
So
just
that's a great lead into it, because I wanted to talk to you about music, and that's
yeah.
because I don't think you own a single vinyl at all. I mean, I can't tell even looking behind you on the two walls of vinyls behind you that you're not a music collector.
No.
So I want to talk to you about some of your favorite music too, because I know we've talked over the years, about your connections to music and, the AC/DC albums and Kiss and things like that. What
Yeah.
in for you, like your all-time favorite? Like if you had to come with like a top five, do you have a top five albums that just have made their mark on you?
Oh yeah, I have. No, I don't, because they usually say it. But if someone asks me what's your absolute favorite album, I always go with Queensryche Operation Mindcrime, because when every time I don't listen to it a lot nowadays, but every time I do, I find something new in it. You know, it's like a new experience every time.
Yeah, that
Uh,
is like the iconic album. And you know me, I'm from Seattle, so that's
yeah,
definitely
yeah,
Queensryche's one of my bands here. But that
yeah,
that album has stood the test of time. There's so many different things, and it was such an experimental type of album when it came out. That I think
yeah,
a lot of people just didn't expect it. And it comes up like you'll see like maybe Planet Rock will post something about like what's your favorite album out there, and you'll see it coming up. Operation Mindcrime is still their favorite album after all of these years.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, so that one, I usually say that one. Plus, I took this out. This usually goes on the list. Is Rainbow Rising.
Nice.
Um, what can I say? It's Rainbow. It's got Ronnie and vocals, and Costa Powell, Jimmy Bain, um, Tony Carey, and of course the almighty Richie. Um, that doesn't get much better than that.
No, it does not get much better than that. And you look back at all like the iconics that you grew up with, and they've stood the test of time. And I have to ask you this because you are a collector there, and I'm the same. I have a ton of vinyls, but not the walls like you do. I'm like my wall would be a wall of shame compared to your glory wall back there. Like it just. But when you look at it, and then you think of new music today, you've got your core that you grew up with. Do you collect a lot of today's stuff, or are you more of the into the stuff that we grew up with?
Uh, Bands nowadays, they're like inspired or sometimes a rip-off of an old band that I grew up with. So why should I listen to that new band that sounds like Rat? Why should I listen to that? Because I can listen to Rat, or I can listen to Rainbow. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
So
Are there any new bands that you like? I mean, has there been anybody that's really stuck out maybe the last 10 years that you thought has just done something completely different?
I love the Darkness, but they've been around for 20 years.
Yeah.
But I think that I'm not saying that new bands aren't good, because there's a lot of new bands that I mean, I see the videos and stuff, but I don't usually buy the albums. I bought the Black Swan album, but those are old guys,
Yeah.
Robin McCauley and those guys. So
Yeah, but that was a good album. Like the last
yeah,
album
it's
was
a
a
good
really,
album.
really good album.
So if that's a new band, yeah, I bought
Yeah.
that one. But they've been around before. So
Let me ask you. So Iron Maiden just unleashed a new single. Have you listened to it yet?
oh yeah,
What do you
yeah.
think?
I think it sounded good. I was surprised that they kept it like straight. It didn't have all those tempo changes and stuff. They kept it simple, and they haven't done that for like 20 years or more, 25
Yeah.
years. 'Cause,
Yeah.
the last great album they did, in my opinion, was Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. It came out in 1988. But still, Maiden is one of my favorite bands. So, and speaking of that, hold on.
A great segue into the next.
My favorite Maiden album, and also one of my all-time favorite albums, is this one.
Nice.
Yeah, this is also an album. What makes an album great is that you can listen to it all over again and get chills how good it is. And I love all their 80s albums, but this is the best in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'm a huge Maiden fan myself, and that I love to talk to other music fans who grew up in the same time frame, sort of what I did, but then they can more connect because you're seeing the shows from back then as well. Like just what it was like, and then what has become of them today. And I mean, like, it just like kind of like you talked to Queensryche. Like for me, I think my all-time favorite is their EP, Queensryche. You know, The Lady Wore Black is like those kind of creepy songs to me. It's kind of hollow, but I loved it, and it was so different to me. And let me ask you this. So we talked just a second ago about Iron Maiden. Are you a Halloween fan?
Oh yeah. I knew about them from almost from the beginning, because they played Halloween they had a hard rock show on Swedish radio in the 80s when I was young, and they played I think Murder or was it Starlight or something. So I knew about them from the first EP, and then of course Walls a year ago. But then when Mikael Kiske came in the picture on the Keeper album, I was stuck. That was some amazing albums, and the part 2. But as we probably all know, that the career went this and the record weren't that good. But my favorite Halloween album is actually Master of the Rings with Andy Darius. Nice. And I knew about Andy Darius from Pink 69 because I love Pink 69. So I was happy when he joined Halloween because I like to sing. So.
Yeah, that's what I was concerned, because back in the day, the only way you got the news is, if MTV picked it up and maybe Headbangers Ball said something about it, or you had to wait until you got some sort of hard rock magazine to tell you what was going on in the world of music. And so it was months behind, to kind of know what was going on. And then you're like, oh my God, and then who's replacing Kiske? But I said the same too. When I found out it was Darius, I was like, okay, this is all right, because I like Pink Cream 69 as well. And so the vocals, I mean, they're two totally different types of vocals, but they both do really well with their versions of Halloween that they did. What did you think when you heard about the Pumpkins United tour, where, Kai and everybody was back, Kiske, Kai and Darius, and now the new album?
The new album, I haven't heard the whole album yet.
Good.
But when the United, it's called Pumpkins United, I think it's great because I love Kiske and I love Andy. So, and those two together, because if they're gonna reunite, I think I don't think should have been fair to Andy to step out of the band and just have Kiske. I think it was a great combination there. So I saw their gig at was it Barcelona Rockfest a couple of years ago, and I was sitting in the VIP in a chair and watching the show. It was
epic.
Nice.
That is epic. Yeah, I caught the United's tour here on a couple dates in the States when they played a lot smaller venues, and then Sweden Rock, and it was like, whoa, this is kind of the crowd I was waiting for, because, I think here in the States, they get such it's not like they get a bad rap. They just get such little notoriety. So they're playing smaller venues where everywhere else in the world, they're out there just like selling out arenas. And I'm just always shocked. Like, hey, here in the States, I get closer access to the band. It's so weird.
Yeah.
It's definitely like, wow. Yeah. So then I have to guess that you're a Kiss fan from your poster in the background. I mean,
oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
So what do you think about Kiss retiring?
I think they deserve it, I must say. I mean, they're getting old and they got all their costumes on and everything. And
did you catch them when they were out on tour in 2019 at all, when they were doing their big run?
No, not that time, because I had a gig the same night, so I couldn't see them. But I see them almost every time in Sweden. I do that, but at the same time, I know what I get when I see them. Yeah, because they're playing the same songs, and I mean, I don't want to go to a Kiss show. I know I'm gonna hear Detroit Rock City. I've heard that. So I don't get that excited, but it's like, well, it's Kiss, so I have to be there. But last time they were in Sweden, I didn't go. I didn't feel the need to it.
Yeah, and I think that on this last tour, they've done a few songs they haven't really done in a while. So there were a few little sparks there, but I mean, they're rescheduling, and I think they're back out on some of their dates again. And I think I saw some dates for next year or something for Sweden. for them to finalize their final tour.
And I haven't heard any different yet, but before it was canceled, before the Corona thing, I was supposed to play in the opening act in Gothenburg.
Nice.
Yeah. So as far as I know, it's still on for next summer, but I'm not sure yet. So it's a band called Impera, and I'm sitting in on drums.
Nice.
For that. Yeah.
Nice.
So hopefully it will happen. But I haven't heard anything about it yet. So
let me ask you, all of the years that you've been touring and everything, have you been out like on a tour where you actually got to meet a band that you loved and just they were such a letdown and disappointment to you, just like maybe just the personalities, they were just terrible people? Have you run into that situation?
No. Nah, not that I can think of. No.
Yeah, I always ask because it's like, once in a while you'll run into somebody that maybe you've loved forever. And then I always tell people, you don't necessarily want to meet the people that you love because sometimes they let you down or they're just.
Yeah, I understand. I can't come to think of anything, anyone right now. Because I met, in my previous band, we opened for Aerosmith, but we didn't meet them. But when I walked on stage, it was in the backstage. Aerosmith was, of course, separated from us and Alter Bridge. So they had their own side of the building, so to speak. But when I worked on stage, I had my stage clothes on and my bass guitar, and there was Steven Tyler standing there, and he was like, "Hey, dude," and he was doing this. I was cool. Like, "Yeah, rock." so he seems like a fun guy.
That's cool. Yeah, I met them way back in the heyday in the 80s, and they were such nice people. And and I think that there are those people that still to today that they remember what it was like starting out young and what it's like to stay connected with their fans. There are some though that are not so great, but like how you mentioned Alter Bridge, they are super nice guys, and they're always so fun when you get to meet them or just chat with those guys. And they are so kind to their fans. I sat through a meet and greet with those guys, and their fans. It was just such a really nice experience. And I think it's cool that artists, some of them have not forgotten where they came from, and they remember to actually be genuinely kind to people when they meet their fans.
Yeah. You don't want to be an asshole.
Well, there are some though.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. It probably is.
Yeah. I don't need to call any of them out because I'm sure people that are going to watch this are going to be like, I know someone that person totally pissed me off. And if you're watching and you feel this way, let us know in the comments. Fire off if you had a bad experience with somebody that was your idol and then you just wish you had never had met them because it ruined your experience with the band after that. Because that's the kind of story like, man, it just don't ruin my favorite bands. Yeah.
Yeah. They can also say if they thought I was an asshole if someone met me, but
I can't imagine they would. I think
good for me to know.
It might be like, because I know when we met the first time, some people are a little more standoffish, not like they kind of take a little bit to warm up. And I think that people think the artists are all extroverts when there's a ton out there that simply just, they're just kind of, they guard themselves a little more. And I think that can come off as being like an asshole when I think it's just more of, that's not the experience that it's coming from the artist side. It just, I think to some fans though, they go, oh my gosh, that person just didn't want to talk to me. And it's not even that at all. Yeah.
No. For me, it's when someone comes up to me and asks, "Can I take a picture?" I'm still surprised because I'm a fan too. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I wanted to have a picture with Steven Tyler, hey, or whoever. I mean, so I'm still surprised. What? A picture with me? Why?
Because you're like, I'm just a person. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I do it every time we run into each other. I'm like, wait, selfie. And I think that's funny because I think that I'm going to lead into the what's the weirdest experience you may have ever had, like with somebody else, like another band, like or something out on tour, because I would say probably one of the weirdest experiences I've ever had with a band member, and it has to do with you, was that year at Sweden Rock, and we were back in the VIP, and that one weirdo walked up and handed out condoms, and I'm like, no.
Oh yeah.
That was the weirdest. It was the weirdest experience ever. Like, dude, we're just buddies.
Yeah, I
No.
remember that.
And I think that, it's so funny because afterwards, I think they're in the Sweden rock group, there were people were posting, look, I brought home my collector's
Yeah.
condom for the year. It was the funniest shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember
Have you
that.
had any weird experiences that you just like have shocked you out on tour?
There's not many things that shocks me actually. I got a hard skin, I can take almost anything, but I don't know. No, I can't think of anything, but well, I had some weird experience with band members that are acting like stupid, fun stupid,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I played with a drummer once, and we were on tour, and it was after a gig, and we were on the tour bus, and I you got a lot of energy after a show, so you can't go to bed, immediately. So I started to watch a movie downstairs, on the nightliner. So I was sitting with headphones and my laptop and watched the movie to calm down, and but the drummer, he had a party in the lounge upstairs with a support band. And then suddenly I heard the door open, and they were laughing their asses off. They were, I mean, something must have happened. So I took my headphones off, and I walked to the stairs, and down comes the drummer, and he had gaffer tape all around his head.
Oh my God.
Like the silver
Yeah,
tape.
yeah. The silver. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Did he please tell me he didn't have much hair, because my God, that has to hurt coming off.
I actually got a movie. I filmed it when he took the tape off. Yeah, but he was short haired, so it wasn't the long hair. So.
That's so funny. I'm like, I think it's fun because I end up being one of the pranksters when I'm out with a group of people, because it's like, you got to have fun. And sometimes situations just need to be lightened up. And if you're not having fun, like, you need to have fun. Like, that's the point of being out and having fun with your friends. So yeah. And I think too, like, probably without you guys, when you're on the bus, I mean, it's not all fun. And like when you're out riding around, and if you can find those moments to have some great laughs, it kind of breaks up the monotony of being out on that bus on tour, because everyone thinks that that's like the dream gig, but it's the playing the shows that are the dream.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that it has to be fun, of course. Yeah.
So, with the new band, with the Hammer Band, are you doing drums? Or are you playing bass? What's going on with that?
Bass.
Bass.
Yeah. So when Ken contacted me, we chatted and stuff, and then I had to ask him, "What do you want me to play?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot you're also a drummer. I thought of you as the bass player." I said, "Good, then I don't have to carry any gear." So
yeah,
that's about it.
That's awesome. And then you also, for the lineup on that's you, Ken, and I know you said that your vocals is Augie, which is Augustine Nelson. You guys know from Ammunition and from Wigwam. Who else is in the band?
And then we have the drummer is Johan Colberg. He played with Therion. He toured with Hammerfall, and done a lot of session gigs. So he's a friend of mine, so it was easy to ask him. And then we have a guy called Johan Flodqvist, who plays rhythm guitar. And I don't know much about it. I think it was in Fatal Smile once, the band with a reputation, I guess. And
that could be like 99% of the bands in Sweden.
yeah, of course, yeah. But and he also played bass with Poodles for a tour or something.
Nice. And Jacob Samuelson has a solo album coming out in September, which is already out. If you're in Japan and you're watching this, that's already out. If you're not streaming it yet, go find it, because you can get it there, but no, it's not come out rest of the world yet. But yeah, Poodles were cool. It's too bad that they're not together anymore. They made some really great music.
Yeah. So, but I have to say, the guitar player, as I mentioned, recently broke his arm. So we have a stand-in guy. His name is Frederick. He plays guitar in Unleashed, the death metal band Unleashed. So he's gonna stand in for the next gig. So
nice. Are you guys planning on doing anything outside of Sweden, or is it just kind of your Sweden Denmarkish area?
Yeah, we have the one gig we have now that is confirmed and official is in Denmark, and we're working on other gigs. We had a festival in Switzerland, but it was canceled or postponed to next year. So
let me ask you, because I know we were talking a little bit about this before we started recording, because I was saying I've kind of gotten comfortable not going to shows. It's kind of nice not being around people, and you've gotten comfortable with that as well. It's been a nice break. What do you think it's going to be like once you're back at these big gigs again? I mean, are you ready to really get back in that? Or are you just, what do you think about shows coming back?
well, for me, it's like a test, because I took a break from everything, and I was tired of everything. So for me, it's like the first gig will be let's see if this is as fun as it's used to be. So hopefully it is, and I think it will be, because there's some good lads in the band that we have a lot of fun when we meet them. So
if you're not if you're not making music, do you have, like, because I know there are other artists in Sweden that they've got a day gig. Do you have a day gig outside of music, or is music your gig, total gig?
I do some other stuff on the side as well. So I try to mix a lot of things. I have an education as an assistant nurse, so I can take your blood test if you want.
I would have never guessed that about you. That's an interesting factoid. Like,
Yeah.
hey, like,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, I would be scared to go to a hospital if I got sick in Sweden, because there are a lot of musicians I know that do work as nurses, and it's like, I don't think I would want my buddies to walk in and be like, hey, what the hell? Like, yeah, I kind of,
yeah,
no.
I have a education. I'm also in my direction in my education is in dementia. So
yeah,
so old people with no memory left, or only old memories.
Yeah, that was a little factoid about me, that one of my after high school, I went and did some nursing school stuff, and I worked on an Alzheimer's unit, and for a couple of years with Alzheimer's patients. And it's kind of interesting to watch and what they're going through. But then as they have moments of that super clarity, and they talk about their life, their past history, it's so interesting to see, like, that weird locked in space that people in those patients get. And they also, like, tell you how much they know what you're doing around them. So they're not completely, I mean, they're so lucid, but they can tell you that they're learning things while they're not in that lucid state. It's kind of an interesting what the brain does.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah, the brain is a fascinating, interesting piece of meat up there. Like, yeah, it controls everything, and it's just a blob. Yeah. So what else you got going on this year? Anything else outside of music that you've got going?
Oh, I'm gonna clean my garage later, I think.
Well, you just came off holiday. You had a break. I think you said your children have been out of town with family, so it's kind of you had a break. Yeah.
Yeah, and tomorrow I got a cabin up north in Sweden. I'm going there tomorrow just to relax and do some record hunting, I suppose.
Nice, because that is something you do that I know that you've been out when you're out on tour. You and Nicholas England, you do the same. When you've been out on the road, you go hit the record shops, and I think a lot of musicians do that. They hit the record shops and they come back and find their vinyls. Like, when you've been out there, like, what have you found, like, some really amazing vinyls that you thought you'd maybe never find? Because I know I'm still looking to see if I can find that Q5 Steal the Light, if I can find a copy of that. I've not been able to come across one yet. So
yeah. I actually have one here. Let's see. So a couple of years ago, I was in Alabama. Is that Alabama?
Alabama.
No,
Atlanta. Oh, okay. Oh, did you guys come do Prog Power?
Oh yeah, it was the Prog Power.
So it was Atlanta. Yeah.
Atlanta, yeah. And that's Georgia. Okay.
Yeah, well, Alabama's right next door, so it's
yeah. All right. So I mean, there's there's some records that are hard to find in Europe, but easy to find in the States, especially American bands. So I really needed this album. So I thought that I'm gonna go check a record store, of course. So I did, and as the minute I walked in, I asked the personnel there, "Do you have anything by this band?" And oh yeah, sure. And she showed me, and the first album that came out in this of all their albums was their first album that I was looking for, and it's from 1972, and it's Mother's Finest.
Nice. Wow.
So yeah. So this is a very hard to find album.
Nice. Yeah, that's
yeah. So I don't know. It's a promotional copy, by the way, also. But I'm really happy that I found this one, and but it's not as good. This is from 72, and their second album is from 76. So they have a few years where they didn't release anything. So the second album is this one, and this is much better because they evolved.
Yeah.
You know? So I can recommend that. But so
what else do you have sitting on your desk?
Oh, hold on. And this live album, I can recommend that. It's from 1979.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, live albums can be hit or miss, like depending on how much people planned for it or what special sauce was going into what they were doing that night.
Yeah. So you mentioned Kiss. Yeah, I started out with Kiss. So I have to mention this. This is the reason why I started playing drums. Because when I was 4 or 5 years old, I air drummed to Peter Criss's drum solo on this one.
Nice.
Yeah,
and I've had other artists tell me that exact album inspired them to pick up guitar or bass. Yeah,
it did. And I have I don't know.
What is it? The same
1,
copy?
2, 3, 5 copies, different pressing on those.
Nice.
This one is for sale though, so we're gonna sell this one. But all right, let's see what else I have. I have a bunch here.
See, then you guys, I asked Magnus ahead of time to come prepared to show some music because it's always more fun when you hear yourselves what artists are actually talking about and what they listen to, because it's so much fun to geek out over music. If we're not talking about other music, we're not doing it right.
No. So, but I like a lot of music, but I picked some records out here, of course, that I'm happy to mention. But people often see me as a hard rocker, you know. But I always said there's there are only two kinds of music, and it's good or bad, you know.
Exactly.
And I listen to good music. I don't listen to crap. That was an extra C there. I was supposed to say rap, but but that's not music. That's a guy talking to a drum machine. So.
Well, unless it's like the heavy metal rap that they're doing, like Hyro the Hero does really cool. He blends it in with really crazy heavy metal music, and he makes a really cool, fresh sound to it. That kind of the rap, I totally can connect with it. And Body Count, when they kind of slam it out, I like that kind of stuff I can get into. But like straight up rap, I'm like, some of it I like, and some of it just doesn't resonate with me.
Yeah, I can tell if it's good. I can, but no, that doesn't.
It's just not your thing. It's not your flavor.
No. So, but I listen to a lot of stuff. So I can do it really quick. We don't have to talk about the actual albums, but one of the best singers of all time, and he's still out there doing it. Is of course Rod Stewart.
Rod Stewart is great.
Yeah,
he is.
Yeah, so this is a great album. It was his first that Atlantic Crossing was his first major album, the big one, when he moved to the States and made it big. So that's why the name Atlantic Crossing. Good to know.
Yeah, he's always had some fun stuff like Wake Up Maggie, and then he got into when I was in high school in the 80s, and he started wearing like the weird jackets were like, I think he had like gold shiny jackets. He did some of his videos. He just looked more like a lounge singer for a bit. But he's always had that crazy spiked up hair. So that's signature. Yeah.
I had it, like I usually have that as well, but it's getting a bit longer now.
Any favorite record shops from around the world that you tend to hit every time you're there?
I was in LA, the Amoeba Music, I think it's called. Amoeba. It's on Sunset Boulevard, anyway, the big one.
Okay.
That was a great shop I was in once. Let me go back there, but of course, and in Japan there's a lot of cool record stores. It is.
Yeah, sometimes I'm so jealous of, and I don't even sometimes, a lot of the time I'm really jealous of what releases Japan gets, or the different copies they get, or that they always seem to be the ones that get that bonus special single you can't get. It's like you've got to import it to get it because you're not going to get it. So I'm always like, oh, come on. Why is it always Japan? It's so cool. My Japanese friends are like, God, I just got this album and it's got this killer song on it. And I'm like, we don't have that here.
Speaking of Japan, this is one of my favorite bands. They are still really big in Japan, but they're not really activated at the moment. But this is one of my favorite albums by them. Of course, it's Mr. Big.
Mr. Big, right? Yeah. That was a great, I
love it. I learned a lot about drumming from this album because Pat Torpey is one of my favorite drummers of all time.
Yeah, it's sad he's not with us anymore either. Like that.
No, it's a shame. But speaking of that, when I was in Japan, I got this. I think I can say that because Mr. Big, I don't know, I haven't heard of any people that really collects Mr. Big records. I don't know, I haven't heard about it, but I do.
Maybe Billy.
Maybe. Fans, but I'm really proud that I got this one. It's a box, Mr. Big box.
Nice. That's nice.
It's got, listen to this. It is 20 CDs with unreleased material.
That's cool. That's cool when you do something like that. It's not the same flavor of everything. That's really cool.
Yeah, so it's not a best of. It's unreleased material with demos and also a lot of live recordings. So.
Nice. Yeah, that to me is like, that makes it special and a reason to pick up something. Like you got something else in there. Although I have to say, like, I'm going to throw one out here. One of my favorite record shops in the entire world is Lucky Records in Reykjavik. I always seem to find something I like there. And the last time I was in Iceland, I walked in and I was just thumbing through and I found a copy of, it looked like a reissue of Europe's Final Countdown. And it came with this really cool tour poster that like I'd never seen. And it was like in mint condition. And I was like, okay, I got to pick this up and put this one in my collection. It's kind of a weird eclectic because it like the poster, like it looked like it maybe been opened once or twice. It was like really interesting, totally different.
Right. I haven't heard about that one.
Yeah, it's always interesting. Like you find something just a little off that you're like, wait, I've never seen this one before. And, I'm like, that's kind of cool. So, yeah, but that's one of my favorite. Like every time I go in there, I seem to find something a little different that I can't find anywhere else in the world. And it's like,
yeah. All right. So I'm gonna, let's see. I'll take it from top here. I know you like this one.
Yes. And man, last week was so rough, man. That Mike Howe dying was just like the start of the most bitter week of the year for me. Like, that hurt. And then, of course, Joey Jordison and then Dusty. I'm like, it could. And then I think Thursday we had one more, and like last month was like a sucky month for musicians dying. It just, hopefully this month does not have any more of that. Like,
hopefully.
rough month. But Metal Church,
this is an amazing album all the way through.
Metal Church is
that's a cool one. Here's another great album that's every song is amazing.
Kingdom Come is a great band.
The first two album anyway is great, I think.
What's the most recent album you've bought?
A Quiet Riot album.
Nice.
Yeah, the what's it called, Bones. It was released maybe in the 90s or something, or early 2000. But I found it on vinyl. They did a limited edition vinyl of that one, so I bought it.
Yeah, I did the newer stuff. I actually bought the limited edition Halloween album because it came with picture discs, and I was like, picture discs, what? I nerd out over this. So I was like, okay, I'm getting me a gatefold picture disc. Really cool, totally cool.
Yeah. So yeah, but also this album, I thought, yeah, why not mention this? Oh, another member died recently. First Cinderella album.
Jeff LeBar. That last month really. That was like a great Cinderella. That album like is iconic. Like you just can't.
It is. But I think it's a bit. It's weird because they look like a glam band, but they play like a rock and roll pub band.
Yep.
I mean, it's they're not a glam band. It's confusing, this cover.
Yeah.
They play slide guitars and stuff. So. And people seems to forget that. Hey, Cinderella, one of those Poison band, but they're not. But
no, they were out on tour with Bon Jovi back in the 80s. And I believe it was that album too. And it was a really massive arena-sized tour. And they came through and they signed albums at Tower Records here in Seattle. And it was pretty cool. Like they're so laid back and chill. And I've run into Tom Kiefer a few times over the years and just nice guys. And like the music though has always resonated. Like if you want to have something good spinning around, like I say, like you too, I often go back to my greats and my favorites because that is my core of what I love. And I don't hear a lot of that anymore. And I mean, there are a few bands that come out now and again that do stuff that sounds a little more reminiscent of that time. And I think there are a lot of bands that are kind of reaching in that feel. Like I'm actually working with this one band called Steel Rhino on their release and it comes out on August 20th. And they have this throwback feel, and it's not like they tried to reinvent the 80s metal hard rock sound. It just like another really solid album that would sound like it fit that time frame. And they weren't trying to reach out and do something crazy like that. They just wanted to make something really good that they loved, something they would listen to. So it's like it's hard to find those new albums today that you could just kind of connect with.
Yeah. All right. Should I continue?
Yes.
I can go through.
You're so excited. You can see the look on your face. You're so excited about the music.
Yeah, but because I really want to push for all bands that maybe not many people knows about.
Yes,
it's so as far as I know, this band did only one album. It's a band called Cats in Boots. Have you heard of them?
I don't think I ever have. I'm gonna have to check them out now, though.
Yeah,
Tickets and Claude.
Yeah, they played on MTV and stuff. It had the opening track, Shotgun Sally, is amazing. So the singer, I can't remember his name now. Where is he? Joel Ellis. After Cats in Boots, he had a band with Frankie Banali called Heavy Bones.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So check that. But that CD with Heavy Bones is very hard to find, but I got it, of course.
Nice.
Yeah.
The ultimate collector.
Not really. But I have to say also, I like to have. I go for quality more than quantity.
Yeah.
So I don't buy everything. So sometimes I sell record. I don't need this one. I sell it instead because I don't need it.
See, that's how I am. My core of what I have is the things I absolutely love.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a favorite band of mine. They should have been bigger, in my opinion. Enough's enough.
Yes, Tammy. Oh my gosh, yes, enough's enough.
Yeah.
Janina Jade. She and I came across together working on something about her album, and she's a huge Enough's Enough fan as well. Like she was actually just posting photos of Tammy the other day, and her like just that reminiscent of I love this band. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah. Here's another great one. Badlands.
Yes. Oh my God. That is my album. I love that album. Oh my God. I must have played that 1,000 or so times in the same year it came out. Such a great album.
Yeah, it is. It is. Oh, here's an odd one. This is from Norway. it came out in '88, I think. It's a band called Arch.
I've never heard of them.
Check them out. It's actually the bass player for Wigwam.
Okay.
It's his previous band. So it's great. It's metal, hard rock metal. It's a great album. Very hard to find on vinyl.
See, and that's so funny that you talk about like the year it came out, because like I remember back in the day back there, you couldn't find something, and so I had pen pals around the world, and we would send each other albums that we liked, and like that's how sometimes you would just find some random album like and just get something kind of cool, like, hey, this is cool, but you wouldn't find it normally. You could never find it.
Yeah. So I the other day I after rehearsal we went out for a dinner with Ken Hammer and everyone in the band, and later Joachim Kahns from Hammerfall showed up, and he's a fan of 80s metal and hard rock, so we started talking, of course, about different bands. But then he said some bands that I didn't know about, so I got to check them out. And then I mentioned, hey, do you know about this band? He was like, no. So I think I thought I had to mention them. I don't know if anyone heard of it, but I got their 2 albums. Anyway, this is the first one. They're called Baby Taku.
I have never heard of them.
Oh, there you go.
So now I get something. This is awesome, because I like that. So when I ask, like, so people can find other music like this. This is what it's so important to have these conversations, because whether it's new music or old music, you're not going to find a lot of these things unless people tell you, because there's so much music in the world.
Yeah. So they look like they're having fun on this.
Oh yeah.
I think they're
awesome.
they're from the UK or something. So yeah, but I can recommend their second album, Force Majeure. I took that one because the logo was more in center. What else do I have? I'm gonna say this one for last, I think. This is an awesome album, one of my all-time favorite albums.
Loudness. Yes.
Yeah, I love this album all the way through it. It's awesome.
I love Loudness. We have such a hard time getting them here in the States. It's like every time they seem to schedule a tour, something happens and they can't get their visas, and it's like, they have to cancel. And so we're always so hard pressed trying to get Loudness here, but they seem to be like more of a Monsters of Rock kind of band, because they just, something happens here, and it's happening more and more to more bands where you don't get to see them here because of whatever reason, that visas are denied or they get delayed so much that they just don't make it in time for tour. It's just not fun.
Yeah. So speaking of my all-time favorite album, this is another one.
That is yes.
I can
Lay It Down is probably one of the best tracks I've ever heard in my life. Like,
it is. I can play every song on this album on guitar, so just so you know. Yeah. And I usually do it when there's a party going on.
That's awesome. Yeah, Rat is such an iconic band. Like, I think that's they were so hot, but I think they're still like, they didn't hit the height of where they should have gone, because they were so good. Like, so damn good.
Yeah. Here's another one. I mean, the album is all the way through. It's a fantastic album, and it's this one.
Blue Murder. I don't think I've ever heard of them. Blue Murder.
Oh, it's Jon Sykes on guitars and vocals, Carmen Appice drums, and Tony Franklin on bass.
I want to check that out. I'm going away with a list of albums that I'm going to go listen to now, like to listen to. Nice.
This came out at the same time as the first Badlands album, so
I think maybe I was so in love with the Badlands album. I mean, Gillian, Jakey Lee.
This album is epic. And by the way, speaking of idols I met that are not so nice, here's Blue Murder for you. I won't say anymore.
Yeah. Ouch.
Yeah. It was I don't know. no name mentioned. But let's go on to this one. This is something that people might not know that I really love. It's from the UK. It's Yes.
I like Yes.
Yeah.
Alan lives here in Seattle, so yeah.
Who? Which
Alan
one?
White.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he lives here in Seattle. Yeah. Nice guy.
Yeah. So I picked this one because it's one of my favorite albums by Yes.
Yeah,
So,
and in today you can't go wrong with the Yes shows. Still, like their shows are so eclectic, and they're always something a little different. Like, did you catch them when they were doing the Yestival tour? It was so hippie-ish, kind of laid back. It was so cool, and just it's such a different feel to their sound.
Yeah. Okay. No, I haven't seen them in years. It's a lot of years I saw them live. I
definitely see them if you get a chance. They're still they're so good live still. Yeah.
I love Alice Cooper, and this is my favorite Alice Cooper album.
Nice.
From the Inside.
Alice Cooper is like one of a kind in his own league. Alice Cooper is so different from everyone else out there.
And he was an expert on doing great covers on vinyl, because you can open this. It's two doors. I don't know if you know the story about this album. He wrote it after he was in rehab for drinking, but on this rehab place he was in, he was the only one who was there for drinking. All the others, they were mentally ill.
Oh,
so he wrote the whole album about these characters in that. So you can open the doors, and here's the.
That's cool. That is so cool.
With all the characters, and then there's the quiet room if you're behaving bad, and there's Alice.
That is so cool. It's like a little pop-up book inside the album.
Yeah, and then I turn the back. There's the backside of the.
They open to you.
Yeah. See.
Oh, that's cool.
And they are all released.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah. So this is a great album. I know that Steve Lukather plays a lot on it, and it's got a lot of session musicians. So it's a great album.
That's so cool.
My favorite Alice album. Let's see. I'm almost done. Here's another obscure one. Saraya.
I don't think I've heard of them before.
Yeah, this album is great.
A couple of the faces look familiar, but yeah.
The guitar player is Tony Bruno. I know he done stuff with Danger later, I think, as a session guy, I think. I'm not sure, but female singer Sandy Saraya, great album. Can recommend that. I have to mention Styx.
Yeah, Styx.
Yeah. So also one of my favorite bands, but also this one is Pieces of Eight, great album, gold edition. So
nice.
It's a fun piece. You know about a Swedish band called Shotgun Messiah?
Yeah.
So this is an album. It's a fun party album. Not this one, but I don't know. At least in Sweden, we all know that they were named. They had another name of the band in Sweden, and then they moved to LA and changed the band name to Shotgun Messiah and released. I don't know if you knew that, but this is the same album, but in Sweden they were called Kingpin.
That's news. I did not know that.
Oh, so this was released in Sweden.
And that blonde curly hair.
LA and released the exact same recording, but under the new band name, Shotgun Messiah. So I got only one left here, and it's a Swedish band. They released one album in '85, and they released. It took them like 30 years to release their second album. It came out a couple of years ago. It's a band called Universe.
I don't know them.
Oh. they are from Upplands Väsby, where I live, and where Europe comes from. The band Europe, that is.
I love that you say that Europe, because that's, I think on their social medias, it's not Europe, it's the band Europe, because it's good luck. And it's so hard when you have such a common name or with something in the world to find anything on social media.
Yeah. Yeah. But this is actually sort of Europe related.
Okay.
For all you Europe fans out there. See, the guitar player, he had a band with John Norum before Europe. So they were in the same band, and also the bass player, he's a good friend of mine. He went to school with Joey, so they're all friends since they were kids.
Nice.
So they came in. This band came in at the same time with Europe.
That had to be rough to come in at the same time as Europe, and then Europe blew up around the world. Like,
yeah,
they just, like, it was just like they broke the scene wide open. It was just such a strange way that happened.
Yeah. I saw them on the Final Countdown tour just before it all blew up.
Yeah, and I caught that first tour when they came here to the States. That was so insane. Like, I still remember, like, they came and played the Paramount here in Seattle, and the crowd was just bananas. And it's like the crowds we had back then were so wild and crazy. It was so much fun, but just, I still remember that, like, being down in the pit and like reaching up in the bands, like singing down and touching people's hands, and it just, that weird kind of connection. And that's kind of been my connection. Like, I was actually my starting connection to Sweden, although I'd known of ABBA for years as a kid, but like, for the rock scene, that opened the door for me for all of my love to follow for the Swedish music scene.
Yeah.
Even though, like, now they're like, we're closing down, we don't want to play the Final Countdown anymore, we're done. That's still the iconic, because
they have to.
Well, here in like sports stadiums, like anytime we still have like any big major playoffs or anything, you'll get to like these iconic parts, and you'll hear that the Final Countdown starts to play. It's the Final Countdown. Like, that's part of like the sports still. And like, this is 2021 and it's still happening. Like, they couldn't have written a more iconic song. Like,
no.
What can you do, you know?
Yeah. Sometimes you're lucky.
I mean, they even had a car insurance company, Geico. They came and filmed a crazy funny video with them doing like the lady throws her burrito on the microwave and waiting for it to count down. And then all of a sudden they come flying out with smoke and flames. It's the Final Countdown. Those girl ladies like looking at them going, wait for her burrito. And it's funny because she's an actress on a show that I love, like a really dramatic, like murder kind of show. And like, this was the weirdest video, but it was really cool. Yeah.
Great.
So, well, Magnus, it's been awesome talking music with you. I'm like, it's so much fun. And I think that more people in the world need to talk more music and the love of music than just the promotion of music. There's so much good stuff going on out there in the world.
Yeah, there is.
Any last? Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I don't know. Forget it.
Any last words for the fans who know your music and know what you're doing and know you? Anything you want to let them know, or anything about projects you're working on that you want to let anybody know?
I've done some sessions actually, so I don't know where it will end up. I play bass on some recordings, and that's something happening, and I and things I can't say much about at the moment, but I'm trying to do something. I also have a couple of guys that I'm writing songs with. We'll see where that ends up with all that. And it's not only like hard rock or melodic rock, it's like different kinds of music just for fun, so I think music should be fun. So and that's my my new motto, so to speak. It has to be fun, or otherwise I won't do it.
No, and that's really important, because I think a lot of people get so caught up in sticking with something that makes them absolutely miserable. And life is not meant to be a 9-to-5 job, or like as a musician job overnight kind of thing, but where you're not happy in the situation, or where things are just not going the way you want them to go, or just it doesn't feel good anymore. Life's not meant to be lived like that.
No, that was basically what happened last time I was out there playing. And that's what I said when every person that contacts me if I want to play, yeah, as long as it's fun, I'm in. But to make sure that when it's not fun anymore, I won't be there.
Yeah, and it should be more like that in life. I mean, like life really is so short, and you don't need to spend every day of your life miserable and that, or just in things that just where your heart doesn't really feel like it belongs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, absolutely. But I'm looking forward to get out there. I do, and
that's great.
I got a feeling it's going to be fun again.
That's awesome. Sure. And I'm so glad to see you back. And I know we've talked throughout the years, checking in to see how you're doing and how things are going. And I'm really glad to see that it really worked well for you taking that break and that you're rejuvenated and ready to kind of get back out there and do some things again. I'm glad to see that music didn't get squashed for you.
Yeah.
So guys, this has been Magnus Ulfstedt. Go check out all of these bands he talked about. Check out the new project he's doing, the Hammer Band. That's going to be some fun stuff. If you get a chance to see them, chime in and let us know, because I would like to see that band at some point. So that sounds like an all-star lineup of fun. But thanks for talking music with me. And, guys, get out there and love some music, and go. You guys can connect with Magnus. He's got his own website. Go find him. He's got his own Magnus Ulfstedt Facebook page. Go connect with him and see what he's doing. Send him some love and check out the projects he's working on, and keep an eye on him, because you never know where he's going to pop up. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Magnus.
Is the Magnus Ulfstedt official Facebook page that?
Yes, not the private. Yeah. There's two.
I got a private page. It's all in Swedish.
Yeah. So
all right.
Thank you so much. Nice talking to you too.